Lucy Maud Montgomery is, of course, most known for Anne of Green Gables, but she penned many other great novels, including one called Rainbow Valley, which was actually about Anne's children. Hank Stinson has written a musical based on that book. Hank and the other talented people of ACT are mounting the production of Rainbow Valley at the Guild in Charlottetown. It will play on November 8th, 9th, 10th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. Director Hank Stinson, music director and assistant director Marty Hobson, actor Colin Hood, and three younger cast members, Joe Moak, Fiona Moak, and Jace McPherson, dropped by the studio recently with all the details. And I began by asking Hank when he first wrote the play and how it's landed on the stage again.
Well, I'm delighted to tell you that some of the things that I hoped would happen in the Rainbow Valley musical, when I started writing it 20 years ago, I mean, I was delighted. It was written as a children's show for Stage Door Theatre. Janet O'Neill, I think, was the director then, and it made a delightful children's show. But after that, I thought, well, more needs to be done, and I will get to it eventually. And then it went in a drawer, and I more or less forgot about it until a couple of years ago, when Rob Thompson, who was then president of ACT, said, "Hank, is there something you'd like to direct for ACT?" And I said, let me think about it. And then I remembered this Rainbow Valley play, which I loved, but figured needed a lot more work before it was ready to be presented again. So I spent actually I had a workshop with ACT and did a lot of work on it myself. And I have to admit that the cast has been amazing and has pretty well rewritten my play for me, which I'm delighted. And I have a great team to work with. So I'm really pleased with the result and looking forward to November the 8th when we open.
And Marty, what was it about this particular show that ACT found attractive?
Well, I think the idea of doing regular musicals, our last musical was Little Shop of Horrors a couple of falls ago. And so this came into being last fall, and we thought about doing it for the spring of 2018, but realized it needed a lot of time to put together and find just the right fit of people. So doing a musical is great, and certainly one with that local flavor, not only the local writer and direction of Hank Stinson, but that tie-in with the world of L.M. Montgomery. I think people who enjoy that and have liked Anne of Green Gables and Anne and Gilbert are really going to enjoy meeting these characters.
Now, I remember reading Rainbow Valley, I don't know, probably more years than I would care to reveal to everybody here, but I remember it as Anne's children. It was Rainbow Valley was a place where they played, and these were the stories of her children. Hank, what is the storyline with this one?
Well, there's a lot of ideas and characters in the novel Rainbow Valley. And by the way, this is not Rainbow Valley about the amusement park,
no.
Which probably deserves another play. But anyway, there are lots of ideas. Essentially, it was about Anne of Green Gables, married to Dr. Gilbert Blythe 17 years later, and she has 6 children. And the children are schoolmates of the Manse children. And the idea that there's a new minister that's come to a very small, fairly conservative community in rural PEI, and the minister's there, and he has 4 children. But what he's neglected to mention to the elders of the church that hired him is that he has no wife, because his wife died tragically 4 years before. So, of course, when people find out that he has no wife, this sets up all sorts of ructions, especially because his kids are very rambunctious, and just by their natures, they get themselves into all sorts of trouble. Anyway, so he has to solve this problem if he wants to keep his job. So into this mix throw a home girl, probably a street urchin from London or someplace like that, who has just run away from this nasty old woman, Mrs. Wiley, that beat her and treated her badly, and she finds herself hiding in the manse attic, the Reverend Meredith's attic. And the kids find her and decide that they like her and they want her to stay with them. Well, of course, this is difficult because he already has enough on his plate. So a very interestingly, a lady volunteers to take her on. And inadvertently, she becomes, at first, they think she's going to be a burden. She becomes a blessing in the end. And actually, because she's there, she creates what they call in a musical comedy, the happy ending, especially for the romantic couple who are, trying to find their way through this maze.
Well, I love happy endings. And Colin, tell us what you drew on in your own experience for playing the role of this minister with these kids that have kind of gone wild a bit.
So my background is as a pediatric physiotherapist, and so I've worked with a lot of kids with a lot of different struggles, and it's been so great to work with these kids who really have gotten into the characters and sometimes can be rambunctious themselves and are just so fantastic at taking on this music and the lyrics, the lines. They just really have amazed me in how professional they are. And, from a physiotherapist perspective, I think working with children is so much fun that it's nice to be able to do it in a different way.
And it sounds like you had fun with this role, too.
I really have. Poor John Knox Meredith. He is one of those characters that unfortunately has a very bad reputation in the play. He's trying his best to take care of his children, and I think he's struggling with the loss of his wife. But as Hank mentioned, by the end, he really has found a way to overcome that and found love and really reconnected with his children.
And you mentioned what a great cast you have and some great kids. And there's been 3 of them sitting here in the studio, and we haven't heard a word from them. So let's hear from them now. So we do have Joe and Fiona and Jace. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to be in Rainbow Valley?
Well, earlier this year in March, there was an ACT Theater Festival, and Hank, who was just introducing the idea, got some kids, 2 of them being me and my sister, to play roles in this little excerpt that he was going to do of the play at the theater festival. So I had already done the excerpt by the time auditions rolled around. I really liked the play itself, and I liked my character that I had played, so I was auditioning for the same character. And I got the part. Which
is a pretty nice feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what is your part? Who do you play?
I play Jerry, who is the oldest. I know what being the oldest of siblings is like. And I also feel like I can relate to him because he is a little bit of a know-it-all, and he likes to show it.
Fiona, who do you play, and why do you like playing that role?
I play Una Meredith. I'm the youngest, and I am the youngest in my family, so it's really fun to play someone who I am, and I can really relate to my character.
And Jace?
I'm Carl Meredith, the second youngest of the Meredith children. I kind of can relate to him because he sounds like he's had kind of a rough life because of his mom and stuff. Well, he's always optimistic about it and seems like he doesn't really get down in the dumps or anything. Like, all of the kids are always happy, and I just wish I could do that more, and everyone should too.
Yeah, there's some great advice. We all should be more optimistic, right? Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, what is it you like about being on stage?
Last 2 years we had a play, and I enjoyed that, so I decided to join this, and it's been really fun. And I like having the relationships with new people and kind of building a team, like a sports team or something, just with the acting. So we get to not just for the play, but also spend time and get to know each other.
Yeah, be friends, right? Make some friendships. And Fiona, what is it you like about being on stage?
Well, I really love being on stage because of the theater festival, and in our school we've done this play, and I have done it. And I was in a piano class, and we do a lot of stuff.
So, Joe, are you thinking about maybe a career in acting someday? Is that something you're thinking about?
I'm not sure. My mom says I'm good at it, so I think that would be a possibility if I wanted to. And it's definitely something that's fun to do. And as Jace already said, it's just there seems to be no faults with it. Like, you make new friends, you get to do something that's fun, you get to learn about characters. And I didn't even know Rainbow Valley existed before the show, so I might read the book.
And Marty, Where and when and how do people get tickets?
We have 8 terrific shows for people to come and see at the Guild, and those are November 8th, 9th, and 10th, and then the following weekend, November 15th, 16th, and 17th. The shows are at 7:30 in the evening, but every Saturday we have a double bill, 2 p.m. matinee, and then the 7:30 evening show. And tickets are available either at theguildpei.com, or you can also visit ticketpro.ca. It will get you to the same place. And I'll mention one interesting idea is that we double cast the children's roles to give more children a chance to be involved with theater. So we have 2 teams of Meredith kids, and so it's just going to be a terrific show of energy, and I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy it.
Well, before we let you go, we'd love to hear a song from the children. What are we going to hear?
One of the songs that we perform in the show is called Something's in the Attic, and it opens the show and just introduces a really interesting storyline.
There's something in our attic, this is not an idle boast. I heard it just this morning, high above the new old post. It made a noise like snoring, oh so odd my body froze. And then it started roaring, scared me right down to my toes. A ghost, a whingy whiny ghost. No fright, no fear, the coast is clear, we've got to find that ghost. For somewhere in the attic, just beyond the kitchen stair, we know the ghost is waiting there. Hiding in the attic in the musty mangy air. We know the ghost is waiting there.
An Acts production of Rainbow Valley, as was mentioned, plays at the Guild on November 8th, 9th, 10th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, with evening shows at 7:30 and then Saturday matinees at 2 o'clock.